So I've currently reached the stage of my life where I'm trying to record videos with cards that I expect will be banned in one format or another within the next week. So, here we go! Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another modern video, and today Yaz has sent me a rather interesting deck list. A couple months ago, we tried a Glarb Control deck that was pretty rough around the edges, and I really like what is being presented here today. So the big upside of Glarb is that you can look at the top card of your library and you can play lands or cast spells with mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. And if you play things that are expensive on the surface but can be discounted in some capacity, then you can actually get a relatively large amount of value out of Glarb. And this video is kind of like a hits of modern held together by a couple of card draw engines. The One Ring is a card that a lot of people are anticipating. I said that poorly. Many people anticipate that the One Ring is going to be banned from Modern in the next week or so. It's currently, I think, slightly over 60% metagame saturation, although a huge portion of that is because it is in the energy deck, which I think is about 40% of the metagame. So we'll see how that ends up shaking out. The card that I had never seen from this deck was Overlord of the Hauntwoods. The black one has seen some play in Legacy, but I've never seen this one. So when this enters or attacks, create a tapped colorless land token named Everywhere that is every basic land type. Every basic land type. So this is our enabler for Overlord of the Hauntwoods, in addition to Leyline of the Guildpact that may begin the game on the battlefield. And once lands are every basic land type, we can also get a little bit of potential value from a Valakut. And if we start ripping a bunch of lands off the top, we can maybe do some interesting things with Valakut. I think this is a much better baseline for a Glarb deck than what we were trying around previously. And the sideboard just feels like it is full of like legacy power level cards. This deck looks quite strong, and we'll just kind of see how it is in action. Folks, we're probably about to have a metagame shakeup in at least 2 formats, probably more. If you need some new cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order, and you'll always get free shipping beyond that. Let's battle. Hello, Phil from the future here. My recommended round is round 4 versus the Birthing Ritual deck. Enjoy the show. Okay, I have no context for power level hands of this deck, but I imagine that a prismatic ending that may or may not do anything in the beginning of the game, followed by like maybe a turn 3 Scion of Draco, with no support is probably underwhelming. Let's mulligan this one. As long as I hit a 3rd land, this is fine. I probably keep this one and get rid of Solitude, as I currently have no white cards. Are there Surveil lands in this mana base? Yes, there are. Okay, cool. Basic Plains. You've got it. Another Basic Plains. I don't know what that means. So I want to get green. I think I'm going to take a Hedge Maze here rather than maximizing my colors so that I can try to find my 3rd land drop, because that 3rd land drop is quite important. There we go. Maybe I should have gotten Elegant Parlor. We're doing land destruction-y stuff, so this can silence me. Okay, so we are doing some sort of life gain nonsense. Okay, that's probably fine for me. So we will do this with Impending. So now I just have this land that is everything, so that is going to fix my mana from here. And we'll slowly start turning this into a 6/5 creature. My opponent's hand seems pretty slow. It's good value, obviously. Haywire Might. Yeah, sure. I'll take 3. So now I could just put a 2/4 Death Toucher into play to mess with these. I don't hate that, because now I do have black mana. And maybe I'll spike a land off the top as well. Hey! A land off the top. Okay, so this will cost 2 mana. No, wait. Oh, no. No! Oh, well, that's, I guess, fine. Does mean I'm taking 6, though. Just take a land that always ETB taps out of my deck. So take this down. Eagles of the North for plane cycling there. Okay, everybody's doing that. Understood. I want my opponent to use this Haywire Might so that I can play my own One Ring. I just want to cast this. That baits out the Haywire Might, and then I can start drawing cards with the One Ring. I can get rid of my opponent's One Ring. I think I just take too much collateral damage. I can't really double spell effectively right now due to the ETB tapped stuff. Oh, I do this, take 6 off Haywire Might. That's not the best. Maybe I need to do this. Get the black off of this. Yeah, this being an ETB tapped land is rough. If I hit an untapped land, I can then Prismatic Ending away one of these and take some pressure off of myself. Ooh, is that better? That's something that Haywire Might potentially eats. I think that's fine. Then I will... Oh, I've already made a land drop. Try to play to fetch off the top. Okay. So this ticks down and is available next turn. I have some creatures that can get into the way or otherwise force my opponent. Sure. There's a Flagstones. Alright, they're gonna junk my Scion, so now this is a regular 2/4 Death Toucher. I eat Solitude. I'll gain a little bit of life. I'll take some damage back. Then this is gonna be a creature that can get checked by Haywire Might. And Field of Ruin, sure. I'll pick up a new land. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So I can play a 4-drop and a 3-drop. I think I'm just going to Prismatic Ending one of these. I don't know, maybe I need to get rid of their One Ring. Nah, I think I have to deal with the board first. So there's 3 colors into this. My opponents can silence me. Then I think I will go ahead and just Glarb. We'll do that. That's an okay card. Now I have 2 creatures. I do, I guess, have to continue worrying about just taking direct damage. Sure. So I'm okay in the short term. My opponent could like loop Haywire Mites, which is kind of annoying. Or the Fungus, sure. This is an enchantment creature, unfortunately. I think I have a Surveil land. I'll just get rid of that. Well, I found another one. Solitude. Sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will leave me with 3 mana. Probably just impending this. So yeah. Take out the Ranger Captain. You can silence me, that's fine. Go to combat. I am going to get a bonus land out of this attack. Am I just attacking with Glarb here? Nah. I'll leave Glarb back to Surveil. Okay. My opponent does that. Let's just go ahead and play this tapped land, pass the turn. I think I'm going to draw Prismatic Ending, and now that the board is empty-ish, I'll take out my opponent's the One Ring. And I don't know exactly what my opponent's endgame is going to look like here. Sure. That's pretty good. This is fine. I will Surveil, though. I'll get rid of that land. Keep a Prismatic Ending. My opponent can return that Fungus. So ending on the ring, 1, 2, 3, black from this, 4. Take that out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get my own One Ring going. But like Haywire Might is annoying, so this is really just setting up the one the following turn. Sure. The opponent's just gonna put another. Oh, I see. Okay. That's where this was going ultimately. Was just Ameria return things repeatedly. Now, like, Haywire Might just gets to nuke my One Rings and my Overlords. And there's another One Ring? Sure. Alright. White Orchid Phantom can take out my Valakut. Sure. And a land. Yeah, a huge portion of my deck is just disrupted by my opponent randomly having, like, Haywire Might and Insidious Fungus that they can recur. That is super inconvenient. I don't think I grind through this. I could be wrong, but this feels pretty bad. Alright. So I Leyline Binding. Fuck this. I can take this out and then take out Abiding Grace. And then try to keep my own One Ring around. Otherwise, if I take out one of these, this Fungus just takes it out. Okay, so they're just going to convert that into a different card. Yeah, he's taking out the ley lines also real rough. I'll nuke Abiding Grace. We've still got problems versus this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 question mark? Yes, but it costs me life. Alright. Yet another land. Oh shit, Amaria is active. Missed that. So nothing that I did actually mattered, because that mites and fungus just come back. And everything in my deck folds to that. I'm just gonna concede here. I don't think I win from here. I can maybe go after the One Ring more aggressively earlier in that game. Wrath of the Skies is fine. Supreme Verdict is probably fine. I don't know if I'm supposed to consign to memory to counter the One Ring specifically. Prismatic Ending is very slow as an answer to the One Ring. Like, am I supposed to give up on this because my opponent can just nuke it so easily? Like, yeah. Have a couple answers to the One Ring question mark. I have no idea how to approach this. This seems fine. Windswept Heath Pass. I think I have a Triome that lets me Scion of Draco on turn 2. Let's find out. I need like Mardu. Mardu colors. Board out ley lines, get Scion of Draco anyway. Nailed it. Again though, my opponent just has a bunch of random creatures that happen to kill this. Sure. So I will convert that into a different land. Probably want white in the short term. That's annoying. I lose that before I can possibly have consigned to memory up. I can take out the creature so that it can't be ephemerated. See where this goes for my opponent. Blue mana. Sure. Yeah, so my One Ring not really doing things here. My mana not allowing me to cast Glarb in the foreseeable future. I can Prismatic Ending a 3-drop next turn. Hopefully I get to just consign to memory a One Ring here or something. Nope. My opponent nukes Valakut. I will turn that into an island. Sure. Can I take 3 to just Prismatic Ending that on my own turn? Let's say yes. Alright, would I like to just slam the One Ring? Yeah, probably. So I have Bant. Guess I will pick up black here. This immediately fogs for 6, and then hopefully gives me a chance to do cool things with Solitude and Prismatic Ending and such the following turn. But, like, you know, you've got it. And cycling, surveilling, and keeping the card. Wrath of the Skies is pretty cool. This will just clear the board here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just not take damage here. Oh, fuck, I needed white. Shit. Well, plan changed. We'll pretend that I was leaving up consigned to memory for a One Ring. I'm a genius. Boop. And hopefully I just get my other white mana and I just, like, redeem myself. Nope, punished further. So we'll Glarb. Glarb finds a land. Oh, cool, I can Impending this off the top of my deck. That's sweet. But it's not really going anywhere. It is a new copy of the One Ring, unfortunately. Oh, my opponent gets some cards. I am fine taking the 2. I think I'm going to tap this and surveil immediately. Let's get rid of Glarb. Hedge Maze is a land drop, but it's not a white land drop. I think I'm just going to junk both of those. That is white mana. Let's do this untapped. Okay. I can use 3 mana to do something else while playing the One Ring. That seems fine. Let's leave up green to do this at worst. Sure, I will Impending that. Make my land. I will, I guess, draw this Glarb. I've already made a land drop. Cool. Take a time counter off. So, I guess I would like to find a new Prismatic Ending. Gotta stop here. Wire might. Okay, so my opponent does have multiple of those. I'm going to lose my One Ring. Sure. I lose Glarb, so I don't get to take that land away anymore. Can get rid of that stop. I lose this. I can Supreme Verdict away all these creatures, or Wrath of the Skies away all those creatures, and that's cool. I can do that while still Glarbing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wrath of the Skies for X equals 3 into Glarb is fine. I can actually even do X equals 4. Oh, but I didn't pay white properly. Oh, no, I see. No, I did count correctly. All right. I get fogged. It's not an artifact, creature, or enchantment. It is just a token. But now I only need to pay 2. Take those out. Play Glarb. Drop a forest. Pass. Take a time counter off this thing. Let's just always yield to that. Can this exile the One Ring? No, it's destroy. But I can reanimate my opponent's Haywire Might to get rid of their One Ring. That's kind of funny. Sure. Insidious Fungus. Plane Cycle. Or a Surveil Land. That's cool. Let's do that for 2 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 2 mana remaining. Oh, sure. Do that. A new One Ring. Which side is which? Prime is what I want. Prime a Haywire Might. Black. Exile my opponent's One Ring. Gain a marginal amount of life. Pass the turn with the ability to Surveil. 1 turn away from this being a creature now. Sure. Sure. That's annoying. But now this One Ring that is on top is no longer really good. It seems like my deck is just really quite bad against repeated enchantment / artifact exile. Like, I guess let's junk that. Set a stop in upkeep. Put that on top. Cast this off the top. Attempt to exile Abiding Grace, which my opponent will just nuke with Haywire Might or whatever. Oh, there's another one. I'll cast this one. Doesn't really make sense going after those. I'll go after the Ranger Captain. Then I'll draw this. Triggered ability or colorless spell doesn't do me any good exactly right now. I'll put that into graveyard. I can't play this. Let's try to find some more things to cast. No to that. Yes to that. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. I could impending this. I think I'll just pass the turn. I think I'm going to end up hard casting this. Alright, my opponent is nuking the Abiding Grace. That makes sense. Guess I can try to play this like way slower. Where I nuke Abiding Grace. Try to... No, there's 2 artifact enchantment removal things in play. That doesn't really work. Alright, so my opponent didn't spend mana on anything, making this Solitude here worse for me. Graven Charm deals damage equal to twice the number of creatures you control to target creature. Okay, well, I can Solitude there. It's not actually going to work, though. Like, I will try to take out one of these creatures. And then, yeah, sure, alright. The problem is that my opponent can just nuke this Leyline Binding. I think I am going to try to go kind of hard here. Do the one that makes them spend mana. More mana, rather. Okay. I'm going to try to be the beatdown here. I don't think it's going to work. Yep. Send this in. 17. Play a Leshnorn. Cast this. I will make 2 super land thingies. But a lot of my opponent's stuff isn't entering its activated abilities, so this is not actually doing crazy things for me. This is pretty miserable. I am not going to lie. Just almost all of my damage and card advantage is stapled to things that die to Haywire Might and Insidious Fungus, and my opponent can just bring those back every single turn. Need some sort of like prismatic ending thing to break this up. Alright, we're just moving directly to end step here. My opponent gets the fungus back. I'm gonna just send in with everything here. Notably, if I win this game, I am still going to lose the match just due to time concerns. Yeah. So my opponent takes out both my things. They get their friend back. No ETB trigger. I get a Scion. Scion will still not end up doing anything. And everything in my deck just fucking dies to what my opponent is doing here. The consigned to memories over there are not doing me any favors either. Send them. This picks up Vigilance. I'm not dealing any damage here, though. Yeah. Alright, Amaria is now a problem as well. Alright. Maybe no fetchables left anymore. I'm not going to pay attention to the colors, I just don't have time to. Sure. So when I only have 1 creature, I can't really accomplish combat damage. That's nice. Alright, 1, 2, 3. I will break this up. Send in. Now we gotta figure out how the fuck to deal with that. My opponent can just keep doing this sort of stuff. I can stop them from getting like a Solitude back that effectively stops this. Alright. So I stop the enters trigger, so I can still hit my opponent for combat damage in theory next turn. Alright. Sure. I think this has just ceased being fun. I'm going to concede. I think I might be able to win this game. But like, this is just not enjoyable. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I could say all sorts of great things about them, but I'm just going to point to this number. I have 488 deck lists stored on this site. That should give you a feel for how I feel about this website. And if you were to go to my profile, you could see all the deck lists that I'm messing around with, including my EDH decks, and you can even see some of the deck lists I record with before they hit the channel. Ooh. Okay, my hand is fine. I get to start with Leyline of the Guildpact in play, which makes my Scion of Draco much, much, much better. I have turn 2 Scion of Draco, turn 3 this thing, turn 4 the One Ring. Looks like we are playing against a Boros energy deck. We'll start by getting some ETB tapped lands out of the way. I think I just want more mana here. Let's just junk Glarb 15 into Amped Raptor. So my opponent picks up 1 energy, then does this thing, picks up an Ocelot Pride, cool. Anyway, I'm sure this deck is fair and balanced. So I would like another untapped land. I don't need to fetch here. My lands are just everything. So I have a Scion of Draco with a whole bunch of abilities. Hopefully it is hard to take off the table. If my opponent can continue to generate energy, they can just make a creature that is bigger than what I am doing. There's an Arena of Glory. Static Prison. The Static Prison is quite good here. So that is giving a 3rd energy if my opponent wants to... Ooh, everybody is hanging out. Man, this probably means that my opponent has Galvanic Discharge, and if I block, I just get blown out. I probably can't leave this creature around. This plus Ocelot Pride is a massive problem. I think I'm going to choose to block one of the things that does not have first strike. Okay, it is a lightning bolt, not a galvanic discharge, but same overall effect. If I'm at 11, my opponent gets another cat. There's still 7 power in play. And now these are expensive again. So I just like do an ETB tapped land. I cannot make another play. I take 7, and then I'm almost certainly dead the following turn. My opponent doesn't keep Static Prison. Maybe I get to play 2 Scion of Dracos if I draw an untapped land. We'll see whether or not that even matters. Oh, I just die now. Yep, just literally am dead to my opponent throwing creatures at my face. And last one. Okay. So I will bring in some things that sweep creatures. I'm not sure if the One Ring is warping enough that I just always am supposed to board in 4x consigned to memory. I just have no format experience. Like, I should, in theory, be able to just whack my opponent a couple of times in a matchup where my opponent does just not have repeated ways to answer my enchantments forever. Like, it looks like I have a very large amount of interaction here. Ending, Wrath, Crime Punishment, all this stuff. What comes out? I, like, legitimately don't know. Like, I could take these out and not give this stuff lifelink. Have a higher density of good stuff. Please do not take any sideboarding that I do in Modern with any degree of certainty. I very clearly do not know what I'm doing. I'm figuring everything out as I go along. Okay, I think I just have 0 interaction for the beginning of the game. I don't think this is keepable. I have 1 land. I don't think this is keepable. The 5-card hand is hopefully fine. I think my plan is play a Wrath of the Skies, wipe the board of stuff, and then try to do things with Glarb afterwards. Leyline Binding. That's probably fine. Multiple ETB tapped lands is pretty awkward here. I also have some pretty harsh mana requirements. I need both bug and white-white. I'm prioritizing getting white-white, as I think casting Wrath of the Skies is going to matter a lot. Alright, my opponent is surveilling. Okay. I can probably just use this turn to surveil now. With another board wipe thing in hand, I think I'm just going to go ahead and junk that one. Try to find like a 1 ring or something that really puts us further ahead. Guide of Souls is fine. And an ETB tapped land. So, I can just play a Glarb this turn, and then hope to do Wrath of the Skies for X equals 2 to clean up a bunch of stuff that my opponent plays. I think I like that. I don't know the mana base well enough off the top of my head to know which fetch land to play for sure. So I'd like green and black off this, I think. Oh, fuck. This doesn't cast Glarb. Well, then I should have gotten a Triumph. I have a Leyline binding if shit hits the fan, but I think I'm just going to let all of this happen and then cast Wrath of the Skies for X equals 2. There's another Amped Raptor. My opponent will get the energy here, but not a like cascade effect. See if they end up paying. All right, they do. So I'll just take this hit. So let's get white mana in some capacity. I'd like white and something that helps cast Glarb, so maybe like a Hallowed Fountain. Oh, Wrath of the Skies, or 2, clear the board, and then hopefully like Glarb into Leyline Binding results in a stable-ish game. My opponent like plays a 1-ring this turn, I just answer that for 1 mana, which is cool. Alright. So the most threatening thing here is probably Ajani. That becoming a Planeswalker would not be great for me. Need to tap that differently. This is blue, black, green. Play extra land. An extra Glarb is not really what I want. Guess I don't need to cast this immediately. Galvanic Discharge is happening. I believe I am casting a Leyline Binding here. It only saves me 1 point of damage immediately, but I just like never want this to transform. So bad at pressuring Planeswalkers. Alright, I'll take 3. No other play from my opponent. So, blue, black, green for Glarb. Bonus land drop. Can't cast a second Glarb, nor does it make sense to. I will probably end up drawing that Prismatic Ending. I'm very worried about just dying to something like the 1-ring. Destroy target enchantment. Not great for me. I would really like to draw something better than Prismatic Ending now. Now there's just a lot of power on the board, and I'm just like a Galvanic Discharge or whatever away from this being a real problem. Oh, great. This means that my opponent has something that can get rid of Glarb. I think I'm going to make a fucking Ajani. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think I can take that much. Alright, so I'll block, I'll let you get the Planeswalker, I'll Prismatic Ending the Planeswalker. Okay. That's not great. So now that that has happened, Prismatic Ending alone is not good enough anymore. Well, probably not good enough. No valid Surveil lands. Okay. Drew Prismatic Ending anyway. Green. Black. Blue. Land drop off the top. Not great. I guess this puts me in lethal range of this. Solitude. If a direct damage mode, not immediately. Okay, so I Prismatic Ending Guide of Souls instead to try to get myself through the short term. No, I'm just going to die to 2 to +1/+1 counters instead. I'm also just dead to Lightning Bolt for that matter. Or dead to a red permanent. Yeah, so that's a red permanent, so now Ajani just ends up going at my face. Oh, Galvanic Discharge also just takes out this. Alright, I was dead a good jillion different ways. That feels rough. Alright, so it looks like I have turn 2 Scion of Draco, but that requires getting a red-white land, which means I don't have Glarb immediately afterwards. Oh, we're going to do this energy thing again. That's delightful. I'm just going to confirm that is Gigantha. Yeah, that is Gigantha. I mean, yeah. I'm still going to do it. Wait, hold on. Do we really not? I do not have the ability to do this. I guess I am getting Elegant Parlor and getting hit by Ragavan. Cool. I'm going to keep that land on top so Ragavan hits that land rather than some real card out of my deck. So I'm going to take 2. My opponent gets a treasure. And we'll see if my opponent just ends up going very wide of what I'm doing immediately. Not this time. So we want to use Hedge Maze to try to make potential Ragavan hits as bad as possible. But sometimes these creatures don't actually attack. I'm going to put that on top. I'm going to assume that I'm going to get hit by Ragavan. I just think my Scion of Draco is not long for this world. Like, I could be wrong, but Static Prison, some other energy card into Galvanic Relay. I just don't think this is going to be here when we get around. Yeah, there we go. So I take 3. My opponent's going to get a cat. They're also going to get a treasure. Opponent has so much mana. They can throw down a 1 ring if they have one, and then probably just like never lose because they're so far ahead on tempo. Yeah, so like I can play my own 1 ring, but my opponent has theirs down first while being established, while also like having stuff that spirals. But we'll try. Like I have a couple of solitudes. Like there's some hope for me. I'll draw. So conceptually, next turn I can cast a Solitude and maybe pitch cast a Solitude as well in an attempt to stabilize the board. This is game 1, right? Yeah, this is game 1. 3 mana Jagantha to hand into discard? Or no, not into discard. There's still a land drop. Okay. I have protection from everything. So that does not accomplish anything. Okay. Now we're talking. So I would like to Leyline Binding their 1 ring. That feels important. Black, blue, green. Grab a basic forest. Throw down Glarb. Already made my land drop. I'll just kind of hope they run out of energy for Static Prison. I think I am more afraid of the Ragavan, but I'm not 100% sure. Again, I can't necessarily expect that my things are going to make it around the table. I can pitch cast a Solitude if I have to, like with the 1 ring here. In case of real danger, I can do that. I would like to use this to regain some life. This is not going to last forever. I can alternatively just cast a new copy of the 1 ring for junking a land. Since my cards are generally speaking quite expensive, I am less good at just vomiting cards out after the 1 ring. So it seems like my opponent is going to play some sort of 3 damage card. So I think I just block and make them use it. I would hope that they use it before they actually deal their combat damage. So I get a chance to do this. So now I'm going to force them to use a 2nd card if they want to get rid of my Glarb. That's why you'll let your combat damage happen first. Now my opponent still has a ton of cards, so this is maybe not the end of the world for them. But hopefully Glarb ends up saving me some amount of life. If my opponent does not play an energy card, I do get Scion of Draco back next turn, which would be nice. I'm at 9, which is effectively 7. All right. That direct damage is not great for me. Okay, they're going to get rid of my Glarb. That's fine. That means I get Scion of Draco back, which means I'm not taking combat damage next turn in all likelihood. Lose 2. Draw 3. I think I just have to play a new one of these. Keep the one without counters. Yeah. Drop an ETB tapped land while holding up Leyline Binding. And there's just a fetch to take a Sacred Foundry out of the deck. Welcome back, Scion of Draco. Which we can end up setting that up with lifelink by hard casting Leyline of the Guildpact. Alright, so my opponent has their own 1 ring, which I will hopefully just Leyline Binding. I will do that. Take out new copy of the 1 ring, which is never going to get a burden counter, meaning that my opponent does not actually get to draw a card here. Alright, and no follow-up play. That's great. So hopefully that means that I just get to throw Leyline of the Guildpact down, gain some life, and not be in danger of dying to my own copies of the 1 ring. Fantastic. This is also going to have the side effect of fixing my mana problems. And in for 4. Oh, right, my opponent still did cast the 1 ring. So play this, trigger Valakut, close to dead from Flage. I'll hit that cap token here. For mana efficiency, I will cast this with impending. This is a May, so I will just choose no on that one. And pass, and hopefully I don't get burnt out. Oh fuck, Arena of Glory kills me. That's just 6 direct damage to my face off Flage. 3 off ETB. And then 3 off attack trigger. I mean, I guess I will make my opponent cast it, but it seems very obvious to me. Yeah. Dead. Alright, we are very close to stable. So previously I cut the Leyline of the Guildpacts, rationalizing that I could usually just cast Scion of Draco as is. The lifelink seems kind of important as these games are going longer, but I don't really know what to do other than that. This is probably okay. We'll just get a Triome out of the way. I can fetch white on turn 2 to be able to Prismatic Ending. I guess sometimes I don't even want to do that. And it is so fucking awkward that I cannot cast Scion of Draco off Triome plus fetch land. Alright. Well, I'll use this to get Elegant Parlor, I guess. So I've gotten time walked twice in this league by not having a Sacred Foundry in my deck. That Elegant Parlor that is in my deck might need to be Sacred Foundry. Then you switch some other land to another Surveil land of some kind. Sure. I, in theory, would like to cast Wrath of the Skies a little bit later and clean up the Ajani while doing something else. I think I'm pretty far away from wanting this. Unless I just use this to get rid of the Ajani while playing my 4/4. I guess that's fine. So just go bam, bam for 2 mana, and hold up. Probably Solitude on Ajani, pitching Prismatic Ending. Land drop. Into Static Prison, unfortunately. Now, if I hit another untapped land, I can just X equals 2 Wrath of the Skies and get rid of all of these. I think that becomes my plan, so I end up doing something like a Hedge Maze here. Oh no, that doesn't give me white. That's awful. Okay. I think I'm going to take damage this turn. That's still fine. It now just becomes much more important for me to hit a land drop, because now my opponent gets a Planeswalker that gets to shit cats everywhere. I'm at 15. My opponent gets a cat. My opponent controls another red permanent, so I take some extra damage here. 14. Fetch. So the most important thing here is getting a white land. I can't get my other Surveil land. We'll get something like Temple Garden here. And then I just need any untapped land. Miss. So I probably need to take out the Ajani now. No, not white. Do something like white-red. And hopefully the next turn isn't too bad for me and I can draw land for Wrath of the Skies. I think I am casting Wrath of the Skies regardless on the following turn. Like, if I have to just clean up Cat Warrior and Static Prison, that might just be enough. I would love to take Goblin Bombardment out with it. Maybe I got greedy on Wrath of the Skies. I'll take 2. Again, not being able to multi-spell is a little rough. So I'm going to get Static Prison and deal myself 1 damage. But that's better than repeatedly taking 2 damage. Yep. It's still probably worth it to get my 4/4. I'm still just so reliant on drawing more lands here. I don't expect that this is going to make it around the table. Yeah, so that will eat all of my opponent's energy. There's a Guide of Souls. And Gigantha to hand. Sure. Well, that's something. Temporary Lockdown. Sure. Now we play this to get another land drop. Next turn I can play a spell of some kind. May need to just Solitude Guide of Souls to just buy myself a little bit of time. Like if something like an Ajani goes, I don't know. We've got Solitude. I'm worried that with Goblin Bombardment here, like my 1 rings just aren't going to be that great. I would like to be able to save Solitude to just gain a bunch of life with it. Like this is very far away from being a win condition that just gets to crack in. That might be a hasty Gigantha, in which case I probably need to Solitude that. That is a hasty Gigantha. My opponent only has 1 energy right now. So I just need to save 5 life here. So no fun things for me. I will end up taking 2 this turn. Oh wait, did my opponent just take the life off of Gigantha? Yeah, they did. Okay, so do I want to temporary lockdown? Getting rid of Goblin Bombardment feels real. I also just kind of need the 1 ring to start doing 1 ring things. I am worried about just taking a couple of damage to face in response to casting temporary lockdown next turn. I think I am going to accordingly just cast this now. I am very worried about dying to my own 1 rings. Goblin Bombardment deals me like 3 or 4 more damage. Try to mitigate that to 1. Okay, opponent did not sacrifice Guide of Souls. That may mean that I'm going to eat a Static Prison on that temporary lockdown, which would not be great for me. Got an Ajani. Yeah. Land drop. Pass turn. Cool. Pass the 1 ring. Get protection from everything. Snag a card. Did not succeed in finding another piece of interaction, but we've got 1 rings that we can cast for the next couple of turns. So that's something. It's just a little slow to actually come online and start pressuring my opponent. Like, I can't attack with it next turn. The following turn I can. Like, Arena of Glory is also just active again. I think, oh no, I don't have another Surveil land, in which case I will just take a Triome. Take 1 from my 1 ring. Scion of Draco is fine. Wrath of the Skies for 2 to clear both of those is fine. So white, 1 and 2? Maybe I don't actually do that. Like, maybe it is just better to not take damage to my own 1 ring under any circumstances. Draw another card now. No, not you. And put this into play. Try to incentivize my opponent to put more stuff on board since my board is becoming more threatening. Something's happening. Galvanic Discharge, sure. That costs my opponent all of their energy. Chained to the Rocks. So much for pressuring my opponent's life total. I guess I can clear that with Wrath of the Skies, and it's fine. That deals 0 damage. I'll take 1 to this. Oh yeah. Honestly, I don't hate just casting that Solitude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and 2. Yeah, I don't hate just casting that Solitude. Opponent's fetching. I can block the Ajani in combat. Well, I can block something in combat. There's a very good chance that this is just going to die when I cast it. So yeah. My opponent doesn't have threats, so it's pretty likely that this is a removal spell. No, let's go for broke anyway. This still just means that I take less damage in the short term, which I think is what matters. I take 1 in combat. Go to 5. Individual points of life matter. I don't think I'm cracking Flooded Strand. Go to 3. Draw. So cast Wrath of the Skies for X equals 2. And then cast the 1 ring. Or maybe I just leave Ajani. Maybe I just leave that. Just cast another one of these to Fog. Make a land drop. Cast a Scion of Draco. 3 and 2 actually aren't that different. They still die to a lightning bolt over there, and I don't intend on drawing cards with this 1 ring. Dead to a Static Prison, yeah. That gets rid of temporary lockdown. And my opponent throws both of these at my face in my upkeep. So to stay alive, I need to find a Solitude and Solitude my own Scion of Draco. It feels like I should have won this game very, very easily, but because I can't cast more than 1 spell each turn, I just did not have the ability to take advantage of my cards well. Alright, so 1 damage at my face. 1 damage at my face. I draw a card in response. We see if it is Solitude. It is not Solitude. I die. GG's. Alright, we've got some lands and spells. I'm going to have a very slow start here with multiple ETB tapped lands. 1 makes white. If opponent surveils or something end of turn. Meticulous Archive. Oh, I don't like the look of that. Whatever this is, I believe that I'm going to just be fully dead to it. Okay. White Orchid Phantom. Sure. Not great for me. Well, I can get Bant colors. So I have Bant plus black. I don't have red. Let's get green. This extra tapped land here is really rough. I'm not going to be able to curve into Glarb or Overlord. In case Ephemerate is a thing, I'm going to Prismatic Ending this so that my lands don't keep getting obliterated, but the second ETB tapped land is so incredibly brutal. Wow, a Voice of Resurgence. Haven't seen one of these in a hot minute. Alright, got lucky. Alright, I have to decide whether or not Glarb does more than Overlord. I think stabilizing the board matters. Not that the land doesn't. I need black mana here. That means Overgrown Tomb. Bug colors. Wrath of the Skies, and I've already played my land drop. Don't have white for Wrath of the Skies. Surveil 1. Getting rid of Solitude. Some foundation art of some kind. Was my Glarb just already dead and I don't know it? Birthing Ritual. Okay. So my opponent is going to get some sick value. Hopefully I just draw an untapped white land and I get to Wrath of the Skies and clear the Birthing Ritual before it gets too much value. I guess I can Surveil trying to dig for a land. Is top 7? Oh, we whiffed. No, wait, no, there it is. Sorry, it was just under my thing. Okay, so White Orchid Phantom. Fuck, that shuffles my Wrath of the Skies. Double fuck. Okay. So I need to replace that white. God damn it, if I replace the white, then I can't Glarb again. The white is going to be very important for the removal. Okay. Alright. That Elesh Norn is pretty sweet. So we're just going to get another land drop here, and then play the Triome. Then hopefully I just like play Elesh Norn and my opponent's deck stops working. Like that is very, very much my hope here. If my opponent's removal is creature-based with things like Solitude, then Elesh Norn just sticks around forever. Stop it. So up Island 5. My opponent can turn White Orchid Phantom into something else before I get to drop Elesh Norn. How bad is it? Damage report. Yeah. Pick up Forest. Any White Orchid Phantoms that happen from here just happen. So I'm going to play Elesh Norn, but my opponent might just turn creature sideways through this and kill me. My backup is going to be slow to arrive. I want to have enough life left over that I can just cast the One Ring and stabilize this game almost instantly. Oh, god damn it. So I am just going to die in the air. And my opponent gets to manifest Dread still. And this might be large enough that I have problems. Okay, opponent is going to just... Yeah. Alright. Don't have white. Sure. I get double protection from everything until my next turn. Get a land drop. I have no white cards to pitch to Solitude. I pass turn. I don't believe that I have protection for 2 turns off of this. If I am otherwise dead, I will check. Cavern on Elemental. Alright, that's just a dude. Yeah, you may hit me for 0 damage. I will allow that. And then Birthing Ritual. Going to return the thing with a flying counter on it. The creatures without flying just get to come back instantly. This is some shit, right? Can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. Sure. Lose 1. Draw cards. So I can now... Solitude. Does not feel like that matters. Like, I can remove 2 creatures, and that's just not enough. Oh. Wow, I have this many lands, but because most of them are basics, it's just not a free roll. Awkward. This is 4. Okay. That's not great. So I can't activate this to shuffle and clear. I'm going to... Nope. Alright, I'm going to see if I still have protection from the One Ring, and then I will die. I do get that Overlord. Yeah. Okay, I am correct in how that works. You do not get to stack up multiple turns worth of protection there. Okay, so this is the sort of stuff that I want. I'm not really sure that I want Force of Vigor. I'm not really sure how I feel about Consign to Memory. My opponent's deck is full of ETB creatures, but Consign to Memory is like not going to trade fully with those cards. Kind of neat against Birthing Ritual. I think I, in theory, have enough stuff to just deal with that. I think I'm going to try this. I get to Fairy Time Raveler as well. Let's try to believe in the deck, I guess. I am slightly frustrated by the mana of this deck. Am I fine with 2 of those? I don't think I'm fine with 2 of those. Like, I am planning on using the one that I have to make sure that I can cast the one ring on turn 4. And I am just kind of keeping this as a 6-card hand, ignoring Scion of Draco for the foreseeable future. Sure. Tapped Breeding Pool. The punishment side of this might be good at cleaning up a few things from my opponent's side of the battlefield. I imagine we're going to see a Surveil land here. Indeed. Junking a land. Hallowed Fountain. It begins. Little do they know this is actually mana fixing for me. So we'll say yes, I'll pick up a Plains. I am drawing far too much clunk here. So this gets me my 4th mana for next turn. I am probably going to use to cast the One Ring, but Punishment is also a thing. Punishment specifically is mana value X. So if there are things that I care about of multiple different mana values, it's less good. Get the island here, I guess. I can take out 2 White Orchid Phantoms with Punishment. I think it's just better to get the One Ring going, though. I think I have to start doing my own unfair thing. Surveil Land? Surveil Land sounds nice. Ooh, that's very good. Also, I think I have a package. BRB. Okay, so Skyclave is resolving. Skyclave is going to take my One Ring. I was expecting a package, but my girlfriend got the package. Womp womp. Goodbye, One Ring. So this is dealing no damage. End of turn. I would like white here. Let's Surveil. Prismatic Ending is kind of cool. I think I'm fine taking that. How much do you cost? So you cost 4. You'll cost 2 once I Overgrown Tomb. Let's Prismatic Ending for Bant colors. Get back an Illusion. Drop this. Say no. Play Scion of Draco. And all of a sudden I have a somewhat realistic amount of power in play. I will have another 6/5 beyond this next turn. And I can Punishment away these 2 White Orchid Phantoms. Or Skyclave. Wait, what is that doing here? Nothing? Oh, that's rough. Yeah, because this is hexproof and also a token. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's do this. So white. I would like to do this for x equals 3. But x equals 4 is the same, functionally speaking. Save a little energy for later, but pay 3. So then I bash in for 4, and then this impending thing finally happens. Now I have 10 power on board. A very different looking game from the last one. Opponent has another land. They're getting to like Solitude levels of mana. What are we cascading into? Birthing Ritual. I can get rid of that via Punishment, but it costs 4 mana to answer what I want to answer. Unless I crime. I can crime a Skyclave and Birthing Ritual that. Alright, what do you get? Recruiter. Well, that could be anything. Solitude's a good one to get. That's just going to happen immediately. And I lose my big boy. Alright, so I have a couple different ways that I can answer Birthing Ritual. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack for 4, see if my opponent wants to block. I imagine the answer is no. They go to 8. It can't be that bad to just do this. Raw. Yeah. That was a good hit, but I think we have a decent number of hits there. I think I need to play more aggressively with the One Ring and just get that going. I think I just kind of need the One Ring in terms of resources for my deck to function. Takes a little while to kind of figure out play patterns. All right. So, temporary lockdown not looking great. Punishment for 3 is fine. I think taking that 2 for 1, that also just gives me a new body, is fine. And just try to kill my opponent next turn. We got something big over here from the opponent. It is an Oculus. You fly. You do fly. 5/5 flyer better than 4/4 flyers. Haywire Might also very good against every card in my hand. Well, that's great. So I'm going to Solitude and take out my opponent's Oculus. Attempt to bash in for 4. Presumably my opponent will now sacrifice the Haywire Might after blocking. And then junk my Scion of Draco. Wait, not hexproof? Oh, right, non-creature. Regardless Agent. Voice of Resurgence. You hit tokens? Yes. I can get rid of you and you if I cast a temporary lockdown. Glarb. We can Glarb. So yeah. Solitude. Solitude's cool. Let's go ahead and just attack. I can temporary lockdown later. Like, I just don't care about any of these bodies. I just have so many more resources coming. Oh, yeah, this is fine. Oh, yeah, combat rules have changed. I now don't need to order blockers anymore. All right. My opponent has a 1/1 token that I don't even think I'm going to bother to answer. I'll just save my temporary lockdowns. Like, I'm just running my opponent out of resources. I think this deck is sweet design that just unfortunately exists in an area, or rather a time when Boros energy is just so strong. Renegade Rallier, so that can return that fetch land. Oh, it's just anything. Sure. So my white actually matters here. My black land doesn't actually matter to me. I'm going to cast a temporary lockdown, clear 2 bodies, and then I just have deterministic lethal. I don't need to cast a solitude. So yeah, fetch. Just to see if we find another cool card. Oh, we do. Do find another cool card. So nuke those 2. Swing in for lethal. We get a game 3 out of this. This is a pretty cool match. I feel like I have boarded in a reasonable way. I think there's other reasonable ways to board that involve these cards, or maybe Teferi. Do I believe in the deck? After my opponent's mulligan, I think I will choose to believe in the deck, but all of my cards are currently a little expensive. Prevail land from my opponent. I'll get one of my ETB tapped lands out of the way. I do still have a Valakut that will ETB tapped as well. 18? Voice of Resurgence. So, okay, this one, this Triome I can work with. This is Mardu, so I want Breeding Pool. Yes. 2 mana, 4/4. Opponent will have plenty of things that can remove this. You know, we've seen the Night of Autumn, Haywire Might style things. Well, okay, Haywire Might's a bad example. The Ritual's just going. Alright. I will probably just Leyline Binding that immediately for 1 mana. Oh, finds Recruiter of the Guard. Finding Solitude. Did not lose Scion of Draco immediately. Okay. Let's Prismatic Ending away this Birthing Ritual and not mess around with that. And then I think I'm going to hold up a Leyline Binding for if my opponent has another one. I would really like to play my ETB tapped land. Like, a lot. A lot. But I don't think I get to do that here. I think I am currently playing Control, so I don't think I need to attempt to swing in for 4 here. I think if I can preserve any points of life so that the 1 ring can be better, that is ideal. I hope my lands don't get bullied. Alright, land drop. Fuck. Okay. Hate that. Really hate that. I'd like this to be green-white. Yes. While I can, I will cast a Leyline Binding. We'll take out the Elemental token. I think that growing larger than Scion of Draco is more of a concern than Recruiter of the Guard being better for a Birthing Ritual in the future. Welp. Now I'm the beatdown. Like, now I'm just going to play Scion of Draco into Scion of Draco. Sorry, Scion of Draco into Scion. Scion into Overlord. So I need to Valakut this turn. So much for my plans for drawing all the cards with the 1 ring. And you have another Surveil, or is it just 2? Don't have a feel for modern mana bases. Just the 2. Alright, land drop is probably not what my opponent wants, unless they have Solitude. It is Solitude. That means I do take some chip damage this turn. I'll take 3 for that. Well, Temporary Lockdown can get rid of Gaddock Teague, but I think I'm just into casting this. The bonus land here definitely matters. If I attack and my opponent removes this, I get cracked back for 6. I think I'm going to chill. I think I'm winning this game if I play patiently. Like, because I have Temporary Lockdown that answers Teague, and then I have the 1 ring, which I can potentially just do both of those next turn if I draw another land. Or I can guarantee do 2 turns down the line. Ooh. Alright. Probably junking Recruiter here? But I guess if you junk Solitude, you can hit another Solitude. It is an Oculus. Alright, so you manifest Dread. I will Hedge Maze. Glarb. I'm going to Temporary Lockdown, get rid of this Teague. I'm going to have the 1 ring. I don't think I need Glarb as well. White 1, Temporary Lockdown. Okay. I think I'm into this attack. This one doesn't make sense. I think this one's fine. Get a bonus land. And I'm not worried about getting cracked back twice and dying because I just have the one ring. Opponent's gonna go to 5. We'll see how good their turn is. Solitude? No. Witch Enchanter. Sure. Ooh-wee. Well. Fuck. Okay, so opponent's just gonna hold back defensively and probably obliterate me with Birthing Ritual. Okay, if there was ever a time to top deck Wrath of the Skies, this is fucking it, folks. My opponent is very much going wide of what I'm doing. The Gaddock Teague is so strong. Shit. Alright. I haven't done math yet, but I'm either dead or very close to dead. And that Birthing Ritual probably does it. Yup. Well, okay, I'm at 19. Am I actually dead? I mean, I'm going to block the biggest thing that I can block anyway. So I'm at 3. We'll see. In case Yasharn happens, I probably need to Surveil here. I need a big hit. Glarb is a redraw, but I don't think Glarb is enough. I'm gonna say no to Glarb, because there are some lines that I can do. Yeah. Broodmoth is rough. Oh, Wrath of the Skies doesn't do it because Gaddock Teague. Ah! Yep. That was a great game, though. GG's. So conceptually, I would like to play my ETB tapped land, but Glarb, so I guess not. I have some thoughts on tuning this one up a bit, but we'll save them for the end. I'm also getting my ass whipped, but I am enjoying this deck, so I'm going to play out the last round. An actual factual Sea Chrome Coast into a Tameo. I will Prismatic Ending that away. Oh, I don't really know what's happening over there, but like ninjas or something? I'm going to get rid of the card that sees more legacy play. Drop a fetch and pass. Again, the Valakut. Real awkward. Take your redraw off the bauble. More Sea Chrome Coast. Sure. Okay. Why are we doing these things? Am I just going to get like polymorphed into some bullshit? I don't know. Working theory. So I have green, white, black, red. Then get blue off of something this turn. Maybe blue-green. And maybe just get a basic island here. I can get green off of this later. Yeah, let's just try to do this and drop Glarb to help stabilize the board. So something unfair is going to happen. I don't know exactly what yet. Okay, sure. Bobble's fine. You may see my forest. I will allow it. Take 1. Okay. You can redraw. I don't know the matchup to know whether or not I need to remove one of these things desperately, but like, surely this cannot be that bad. So there's the 1 ring. I will absolutely draw that. Solitude is fine. This is also fine. Opponent's at 18. 4th land. Some sort of Convoke spell. Oh, it's Kappa Cannoneer. Ward 4 is annoying. Sure. Really gonna be Ward 5. Oh, Pithing Needle. Okay. Well, that's occurring. Naming the 1 ring. I think we're gonna go upkeep stop here. Lose a life for the 1 ring. I think we pitch cast a Solitude. Just immediately. Target the Kappa Cannoneer. It costs me all of my mana. Lose the Solitude. I don't really want to draw that. I don't want either one of these things. Both go to graveyard. Plains is fine. Mardu plus green blue. Leyline Binding is 1 mana. I'm just going to leave open the option to Leyline Binding something. I have some punishment options to nuke 1 or 0. Cameo is fine. Am I okay giving my opponent 1 clue? And then for 3 mana, I nuke all their 1-drops. That seems fine. I will take 2 damage here. Going to 12. Opponent draws a card and plays a land. End of turn. We're going to Leyline Binding Pithing Needle just so I can draw some extra cards. think it's possible that I don't end up casting Punishment immediately. I think I am going to... Yeah, okay. They're just done with me, which is fine. We are going to pull ahead very... Oh, just done with the whole match. Honestly, fair. Okay, honestly, we had a bad run of it. I don't think this deck is that bad. I think Modern is just very high-powered. I think this is a good attempt at brewing. I think some changes need to be made, and I think the first of those is in the mana base. So I can Savai Triome plus Breeding Pool, but I can't Zagoth Triome plus Sacred Foundry. I think that's a problem. I don't think the Valakuts need to be in the deck. I understand wanting to make them work with Leyline of the Guildpact. Like, that is pretty cool. I'm not going to say that I was sideboarding correctly, because I don't really understand Modern, but it was my inclination to remove this in most of my rounds, and if that is something that the donor is also going to end up doing, then Valakut is probably just clunking up the mana base. Valakut itself does not contribute to different colors for Leyline binding, which feels relevant. So I think either the Valakuts need to go, or Elegant Parlor needs to become Sacred Foundry, and then you fit in one Surveil land somewhere else. Glarb was fine. Glarb was much better this league than in the previous league that I played with it. This was a much sounder way to try and build a Glarb deck. There was a lot of raw power here. It just so happens that, like, Modern has a very clear best deck in the same way that Legacy has one or two very overpowered decks. And if everyone is jamming the One Ring, like yourself included, that is maybe not indicative of format health. So this is a cool snapshot in time. I don't really expect the One Ring to be legal next week in Modern, but I've been wrong before. So I guess the interesting thing to think about, like, is does this deck exist without the One Ring? Where, like, you lose this, but so do your opponent, so the overall power level of the format goes down. I'm not sure. Like, the One Ring was definitely the best thing in the deck. Like, I think that's very clear. I think Glarb is probably propped up by the One Ring, but the deck did have, like, a mana glutting issue where I couldn't play enough of my cards that were coming to me from the One Ring or Glarb or whatever, and stuff was getting stuck in my hands. Part of that is due to mana just not being able to curve out properly. This card is interesting. I would definitely play more with this card. Like, it is slow as a ramp spell, but the ability to just cast a 6/5 later in the game, or just have it be a ramp spell that eventually becomes a blocker, is reasonable. I don't think I can speak to the sideboard. I don't think I understand the format well enough to know how to sideboard properly. Like, I don't know if I should just be shoving in 4x Consign to Memory versus every One Ring deck. The Consigns feel a little weird because I have these, like, very expensive cards that I am tapping out for. Like Wrath of the Sky's Prismatic Ending, Main Phase Solitude, Punishment, and maybe holding this up is difficult. Like, I think I can say that much. But I think any refinement of this deck that is going to happen probably happens in the mana base. Yeah, so I think I'm going to overall thumbs up this league. I hope you had fun watching it. I'm sure I made tons of mistakes, because playing a format you don't know is hard. Anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of the day. If you need some cards, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU to let them know that I sent you. All right, see ya.